Hi, I'm Susanna Steers, Integrated Movement Specialist and founder at movingspirit.ca, where we help active people find their very best moving bodies. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the knees. Knees get a really bad rap in our world. They take a lot of abuse. We sit for too long and then we stand up and we expect our knees to work at their best. Well, it doesn't work that way. And the way we tend to train our legs in terms of fitness training is often really centered on the thigh muscles and sort of a pushing action through the legs, which is great, but let's see if we can find another way to kind of organize all of that push and length so that it's organized relative to what's going on up inside the body through the length of the hip and down through the lower legs into the feet. I'm going to show you one quick little exercise today that you can play with to help create a better balance through the knee joint so that you're not over compressing and creating stress and friction in the knee joint that can lead to injury and pain. So let's have a look. What I'd like to demonstrate is how a lot of people choose to straighten their legs and to straighten their knees. And I see this a lot in the world, and it affects really how people stand, what's happening in their pelvises, what's happening in their feet. And it's something that I think has been perpetuated by the kind of, thigh-centered training that a lot of people experience in fitness training situations in sort of the common mainstream fitness world. A lot of it is about the push through the legs, and that's great, but let's organize that push relative to the rest of the body, and that's what I'd like to show you now. So first I'll show you what I perceive to be a negative pattern, and it's one I have to guard against all the time. I'm showing from the side so that you have a sense of what it looks like. From an upright standing position, if I bend my knees, what I see for most people is that at this moment, I say stretch your legs, and what happens is the knees and the thighs get pushed to the back of the room. Simply that, push. The feet push to the floor and the knees push to the back. And yes, that is extending the knees, but it's also shortening the back, tipping the pelvis, and then most of us will try and then tuck our butts to try and reorganize that. So let's get rid of all that extra compensation and extra worry and all that sort of strange planning that has to go around that. What I'd like you to imagine is that the back edges of your sit bones, the sort of inside back edges of the sit bones, release those sit bones to the back of the room, even if that feels like it's arching your back. Let the inner thighs have their length. Again, even if it feels like that takes you into a back arch. I want you to release the hips and release the legs. Release all of that and then create that core length. So you've got your hooks and strings floating up. I'm not going to tuck my tail to get my hooks and strings. I'm going to lift my pelvic floor, a little jellyfish inside the body. I'm going to lengthen my spine. Finding as much length and space, and I want to feel my heels reaching into the floor. From there, keeping all this sense of space, imagine that those sit bones stay wide. And it's as if I'm bending my knees and I'm just sitting on the very edge of a bar stool. So I'm not dropping my weight down. I'm just barely going to sit. I'm releasing the knees, lengthening the inner thighs, and gradually bending. So I still have length in my torso. I'm easy in the top of the body, and my knees have some sproing. I haven't just dropped my weight into them. And to stretch up, I want to keep feeling the soles of my feet open into the floor. I am going to then continue to feel that width in my sit bones as I lift my core, lengthen my spine, and gently extend my legs. So there's a lift that slides up into the groin, into the outside of the hip, and into length. I'm not back here, I'm lifted up. Keep that lift and length as you release, softening the knees and coming back up. If I keep my butt clenched while I try and do a bent knee thing, if I kind of stay in this tight place, as soon as I bend, it pushes my weight forward into the knee joint. So automatically any load that might otherwise have been absorbed by this nice buoyancy gets driven forward through the knee joint. And then you have to deal with it by a joint that, by all accounts, was built by committee. There are all kinds of crazy things going on in that joint. So you want to create a place where there's buoyancy and lightness, not drive and push in this direction. Yeah?
Softness.
You want a
of leg.
sense of an accordion action. Open feet, soft ankles. The knees should be able to bend freely as you move. So you want to bend your joints and support them with muscle. You don't want to hold your joints. If you do, you'll